Sometimes we get to a place where we just feel stuck in our business or in our careers or in life just in general. And it's almost like we're hitting this invisible wall, or there's a ceiling of sorts that we're just kind of hidden and we keep bouncing off of. And it's like no matter what we try, no matter how hard we try it, it just feels like you can't get traction, right? Like you just can't seem to break through whatever that thing is that you kind of feel like you're being held back on. And I've experienced this numerous times throughout my life. And so in this video, I thought I would share with you some of the things I feel like I've learned and kind of a major takeaway which has helped me in my own life. And then that way, if you're going through that yourself, maybe it'll help you out. And of course, if you have anything that has worked for you, I'd love to hear about it as well in the comments. But to illustrate my point, I'll tell you about a company I owned a few years back. It was a digital marketing agency and we were scaling pretty quickly. We have gotten to a couple $1 million in sales, and we were scaling quickly, like I said, and then we sort of just hit this ceiling where it was like, no matter what we do, it felt like, or what we did, it felt like we couldn't break through this revenue ceiling, if you would. And it was really uncomfortable because it was like we were still too small to hire a lot of the positions we felt like we needed to like sort of be an established company. Like we're still wearing multiple hats, and a lot of us were. But we just couldn't break through. It's almost like we had this like lower limit and this upper limit, and we sort of just bounced in between the two over and over again, and we couldn't really break through. But we figured, all right, this is something we have to solve if we want to like kind of grow up to that next level. We have to figure out how to break through. So we'd have these, leadership meetings or whatever else, and it's like we're trying to figure out the issues, and we come down to like, it's definitely a sales and marketing problem. Like we probably need a sales team. Maybe we need a better sales process, SOPs, tech stack. We need, marketing automation. Like we need all these systems and complex things solved so that we can break through that barrier that we had. And, we'd start trying to solve these things, and then we would lose a client, we'll just say, right? All of a sudden we lose a client, and then we lose another client, and then we lose another client. And we start to go backwards and we sort of get towards that bottom limit. And then all of a sudden it's like a panic mode because it's like, holy shit, like we're going backwards right now. We need to figure this out. And in that moment, I would contact my network. I would, cold call new prospects. I would, reach out to current customers and see if they knew anyone that might be, in the market or might be willing to talk about it. I would talk with our account teams and, my partners and just be like, hey, we need to like all hands on deck, have to figure out how we're going to get new business so we can get back to where we were revenue-wise. And the thing that was, especially looking back, that was interesting is like every time that happened, we would go out and we would blitz out so much sales that we would like get right back to where we were, like in a month, like that. We would just, fix it, boom, back to where we are. And then as soon as we hit that upper limit, it's almost like we settled down like, oh, okay, good. Now we have to solve the problem of how can we make more sales because we can't get through this limit. And it's funny because if we would have just called the network and worked our prospects and got, aggressive with the sales efforts and just did the things that worked, the things that got us to where we were, then we would have broke through that limit. Like we just had to go do that thing. But instead we were like making it more complex. We were trying to make it a bigger problem that we needed to solve. And that is really what was keeping us stuck, because it's not that we didn't know what to do, because clearly anytime we needed to go make sales, we made sales. It's just when we got into that comfortable state and that upper limit, we just didn't, I guess, feel like we needed to enough, and then therefore we wouldn't do it. And it got me thinking, like, why do we do that, And I was reflecting on myself, and it's like, it's just because I don't want to do that anymore, right? Or there's some limited belief underneath the surface, or there's some fear, or there's something that's holding me back, maybe subconsciously. And only when things got bad enough did I sort of break through that and go, okay, well, I need to just do what I have to do, right? And it got me thinking, I read this book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and it talks about how we have this upper limit problem where you sort of establish this limit, this like arbitrary limit of what you're capable of in your life or business or whatever it is. And when we start to approach it, it's like we self-sabotage ourselves to make sure we stay within that comfort zone, if you would. And I think that applies here in a lot of ways. Like perhaps I didn't think we were capable of going to that next level. Perhaps there was some limiting beliefs within myself that was keeping me from wanting to do the things I needed to do to move on. Perhaps it was just because I was getting burned out, but it's like, it's sobering because it reminds me that so often in life, we have this feeling of being stuck and not able to break through. And we sort of blow it out of proportion as far as the solution being complicated or the solution being very difficult. Like if you apply that same concept to like your personal life, like say I want to lose some weight, it's like, okay, I want to lose weight. So then I'm like, all right, I got to figure out, am I doing keto? Am I going vegan, carnivore diet, like Mediterranean diet? I need to make a spreadsheet. I need to figure out workout routines. When am I going to work out? How often am I going to do it? And I need to like solve this whole system of how I'm going to become a healthy person that loses weight like he wants to and does whatever else he wants to do. And it's like, in reality, I probably just should go downstairs and work out, or I should just go outside and go for a walk. Like the actual thing that would make me make progress towards that goal, it's pretty easy, and I know what it is. It just feels incomplete, or I don't actually want to do it, or I want to, I have some limiting belief. So it's almost like we create this distraction by making it more complex and trying to overcomplicate things instead of just doing the thing we know we need to do. At least that's what I felt in my own life. And I'll find myself, watching YouTube for hours to learn about things or listening to podcasts, and you spend all this time trying to do personal development, and then you never actually do anything. When in reality, you just needed to go do anything, what that next step was, and it would have helped you move forward. So I think that the main takeaway I realized is like, so many times if I feel that place where I'm stuck, I sort of step back and I'm like, all right, what's actually going on here? Is there something inside of me that is kind of holding me back? And what is the single next thing I could do to move towards whatever it is I want to do, or to help move me away from wherever it is that I'm stuck? And if I break it down into just the next step, everything else feels easier. I just do the next thing, and then I do the next thing again, and I just keep doing the next thing. And it isn't always optimum, it's not like perfect planning, but it does move me forward. And a lot of times, to my surprise, there's not like a whole lot of effort that results in a whole lot of gains. It's just go do it. And that's been really powerful for me. And one last thing I'll share with you is a tactic I've used also that I think helps if I feel stuck or I'm trying to decide like, oh, I don't know how to move forward, or I have all these options and I don't know what to do, is I will create a persona, like I use my middle name, for example, and I'll take my situation and I'll project it into this persona where it's like, all right, this isn't me anymore. This is a client. They're asking me for advice. This is a friend or a family member, and they're asking me for my opinion. And when I look at it, it's so silly because I know it's me, but when I look at it from a third party perspective, it seems kind of obvious. You're like, hey, dummy, like you said it yourself. This is what you should do, or the next step becomes kind of obvious because, well, I don't have to do it. I'm just telling you how to do it, right? And it helps you get out of your headspace, and it makes clarity a little bit easier, at least it has for me. And then you can obviously put that back on yourself and go, oh shit, now I know what the next step is. Now I guess I have to go do it, right? So that's sort of my thoughts on that. Hopefully it helps you out with the awareness behind it, and then even some of the tactics to break through. And I'm curious, if it does work for you, let me know. And if you have things that have worked for you, please do share them. That's super helpful, helps channel, but it also helps me because I'm learning from you guys as well. All right, I think that's it. So thanks again, appreciate you being here, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hey man, if you liked that video, or even if you kind of liked that video, you're still here, so check out this video, because I think you also like that. And yeah, just appreciate you being here. So I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.